CO, Halito, what up, guys?
Yeah, what's happening, cuz? How we cool? Estamos chill. What's going on with you?
Well, we are on the precipice of green corn. So I thought the people would like a breakdown from the Yamasi tribe of Seminole aspect of green corn and what it means to you.
Oh, well, that's actually the dance, you know what I'm saying, ceremony, and that's basically our New Year's, and everything be done around the New Year's, so that's what it's basically dealing, excuse me, dealing with us, dealing with the nation where we actually renew everything, you know, and take care of old situations, and yeah, that's what we do.
Okay. I like that short synopsis, but can you give them a more in-depth look?
Well, it can't be no more in depth but that. I just gave a short brief synopsis. If they want more, they're gonna have to join a nation and go through ceremony. Some things is just not comfortable. You heard me?
Yes, I did. Peace, Yati, Lashonda.
It's the gathering of all the clans and everything, and to renew certain things that is sacred to us. You know, that's the first one. I'm gonna go into that. There's certain ceremonies that's done that's not for the outside. You
Right.
know,
If you can talk to the people for a minute, I'm gonna find this clip that I wanted to play about green corn.
yeah. Well, they had to have ceremony. Oh, excuse me, because you had certain people that was always want to be warriors and stuff and want to fight and everything. So certain things was bestowed upon them to try to make them gentle and civilized to where they won't have to be warring all the time with the people that they come in common with. So dealing with this ceremony, uh, that was actually in the southeast. When we migrated up this way and stuff. So when the other people migrated this way, they came as a war fraction. So, we was like, man, look, all this warring don't make no sense. We gotta have some decorum about ourselves. And then that's when we gave them ceremony. You know, the tribes in the east gave those people ceremony. And that ceremony became known as the Green Corn Dance.
Okay, I know different tribal nations have their own dance. I know like the Jalagi, the Kitawa, they have a stomp dance.
Well, the stump dance was given to them because they was one of the tribes that came warring with the other tribes that came down to the southeast. So we gave them a ceremony and everything, and we gave them a dance, you know, because they didn't have that at first until that was bestowed upon them.
Yes. I know also with the green corn, it's purification time also, and going to the water. And that's some things that basically even religions have incorporated, going to the water, patterned after indigenous practices, and just a form
No,
of.
I wouldn't say it was copy. Everybody had ceremonies that dealt with water. You know what I'm saying? Those those nations on the other side of water didn't know what we was doing over here, vice versa. Everybody had a ceremony that was dealing with water.
And you're talking about tribal nations. I was just saying how, like, Abrahamic religions have incorporated a lot of indigenous practices in their religion.
No, no, no. Those people had their own way. They didn't know like I said, they didn't know we was doing over here, and we didn't know what they were doing over there.
Well, I know in
Them
the
people,
church that I went to, just like those spiritualist churches that we have had conversations about, where they do have indigenous and Creole spirituality and culture in that church, in the spiritualist churches. Like,
but,
just
but,
for
but the
example,
spiritual churches is totally different.
right?
That's totally different.
That's what I'm talking about in that aspect, in the spiritualist churches, not your everyday Christian church. I'm talking about the spiritualist churches that still have that indigenous and Creole spirituality mixed in there. Because I remember going to some of those services growing up, and where we did go to the water, and it was certain things going on. Um, so basically, that's why I brought that up concerning the spiritualist churches. So, yeah, their spirituality and culture just didn't disappear when they did incorporate Christianity into their life. Well, let me pull this up. I've been trying to find my glasses. I cannot fucking find them. Anybody got any comments or questions in the chat while I'm pulling up something? All right. I do like this little segment from this. I'm gonna show the disclaimer. This is for educational purposes only. Fair use is permitted. All right. Pull this up.
Corn ceremony alive. And today, I'm going to learn about the people keeping the green corn ceremony alive and ask why they see the teachings of this ritual as a matter of survival. I'm Tariana Tang Ball, and this is Ritual. The Southeast is the home of many indigenous tribes, from the larger nations like the Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Muskogee to smaller tribes like the Tunica, Akalopisa, Bayogula, and Homa. But there were fewer divisions between them in the days before the European conquest. Muskogean-speaking people descend from the great mound builders, whose elaborate earthworks date all the way back to 3500 BC. Though eventually each tribe evolved in its own way, there remain many shared traditions throughout the region. They also created a common trade language to make sure they would be understood even when they traveled far from home. Visiting members of different tribes were always offered the calumet pipe upon arrival, a ritual of hospitality that helped to keep the peace. When French, Spanish, and British colonists settled throughout the region, bringing discord and disease, Southeastern tribes began to lose their cultural cohesion. The founding of the United States only made matters worse. Andrew Jackson's Indian Removal Act of 1830 stripped these powerful nations of their land and legal rights, and for over 100 years, they were systematically made to feel inferior by a nation determined to relegate living people to the past. But their cultures proved to be too strong to slip away. And today, many indigenous communities are reviving rituals like the green corn ceremony. I'm sitting down with Greyhawk Perkins, member of Louisiana's United Homa Nation, to hear how he maintains these ancestral connections.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, Greyhawk. It's amazing to sit here with you. You have an amazing story to tell. You are a historian, a culture bearer. You have cool hats. You play jazz fest. You're a composer. You're part of like 2 tribes.
Yeah.
Choctaw and Homa.
And Homa,
It's
both.
pretty amazing. How about you tell me about the green corn ceremony?
Well, green corn ceremony is a part of our culture in the Southeast that has been around for 1,000 years, more than 1,000 years, and it is our new year. It's a renewal time. You make peace with everyone around you. You have before you go to green corn, you have to go to everybody you might have had any words with, and even if it wasn't your fault, you apologize because you got to go with a clean slate. And we fast, we dance, and we go many days without sleeping. It's also to honor our women because without our women, none of us would be here. And really, even at the beginning of green corn, the men don't even go on the ground until the women do the first dance. Basically, they cleanse the ground, and then the men come on and they do their dance. So we don't do anything. We can't even dance without the women because the women keep our rhythm for us.
And why haven't I heard about this? Why haven't I heard about the green corn ceremony?
Well, too, a lot of our green corn and our ceremonies had to go underground because the outside culture made it illegal, and so you had to go underground. So a lot of times you wouldn't let anybody know you were still doing that. But later on, about the 80s or going into the 90s, a lot of the elders said, we need to let people know that we're still here, that we're still doing green corn, we're still doing the ceremonies, we still have our language. And so at that point, they started to allow people to go out and do stomp in public, talk about it and things like that. Because at one point, I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk to you about it. Ours is a ceremony. It's a dance. We don't wear fancy costumes, and so it's not flashy. It's not for public entertainment.
What are some of your favorite memories of the green corn ceremony?
My goodness. My favorite memories of green corn, I guess, is just the camaraderie. Being there and knowing that I'm doing something that my ancestors did when the mounds were being built 1,000 years ago, older. I'm singing the songs the same way. We're doing dances that are actually on the pottery. That those potteries were made 700, 800 years ago, and we're still doing those dances. And we're doing something that my ancestors did, and a lot of people can't say that.
For Muskogean-speaking peoples, the green corn ceremony is an expression of a worldview in which life is a vast network of interconnection. This is only one of many rituals that honor and reinforce the ties between community members and the plants and animals that sustain them. For United Homa Nation member Tammy Greer, the first step to reviving the traditions of her ancestors is restoring the connection they had with the natural world. Since 2005, she's been showing people the way with the help of her traditional garden, which she calls the medicine wheel. As a steward of the medicine wheel garden, she sees these plants as a map to a lost understanding of the power and sovereignty of all living things. I am in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, with Tammy Greer, member of the United Homa Nations and the caretaker of this amazing medicine wheel garden. Can you tell me what a medicine wheel garden actually is?
So a medicine wheel garden is a garden that's designed to be a circle with cardinal directions pointing out the different paths in the circle. We planted our garden with indigenous plants of this area. So plants that were used by our ancestors for building materials, weapons and dyes, food, and of course, medicine.
That's amazing. What inspired you to make this garden?
I was listening to the elders talk about what kind of traditions we were missing. And so they were telling me that we were out of relationship with the plants, and they had forgotten not only their names in the original languages, but also their uses. Like, how did we tend one another? How did we help one another? And so we were thinking on that when we thought, well, we need a place where people can come, where there are hundreds of plants that were used by Southeastern tribes of this area in different ways. And they can wake up that knowledge about plants and what their uses are, so that when we see these plants out in the wild, they're not just a plant. They're like our relative. We know what they're used for. We know their names.
How is the medicine wheel garden and the green corn ceremony connected?
So the green corn ceremony brought us together as a community, like these plants are together as a community. At some point in the green corn ceremony, we would fast, addressing our bodies. Our physical bodies were important, and the green corn ceremony pointed that out. And the medicine wheel also has a path for our physical bodies. And then we would dance, also our physical bodies, get them in motion. And our path on the medicine wheel also addresses we need to keep our bodies moving. And then the teachings of the green corn ceremony had to do with forgiveness and maintaining community and coming back together, starting over, letting go of past. We have a northern path right there that talks about our mental selves and how we need our mental and our physical and our emotional and our spiritual selves all together to tackle hard things like climate change, right? And you know, back in the day, it was survival. It wasn't just like platitudes, it was survival for them. Yeah.
Wow.
But you know, today it's still survival. Think on it. We can't survive without our communities coming together and speaking with one another, understanding one another, forgiving one another for all what we do as human beings, because we're not perfect people.
What has the medicine wheel garden taught you?
The medicine wheel teaching says that you need to maintain a balance, getting out of relationship with what we need to nourish us, getting out of relationship with the plants in our environment. It makes for an imbalance in the world, and we're suffering some consequences for that.
Exactly. That's exactly what you mean about relationship. It seems so simple, a plant, a swamp, a garden, but it's the littlest things that make up our community. And we're all in relationship with each other and have to protect each other. I totally understand what you're talking about here. I have a garden at home. I will pay her a little more attention. It just takes so much work. But what relationship doesn't?
Exactly.
In the Muskogean-speaking world, the relationship between plants and people was reciprocal. Each offered their gifts to the other. The green corn ceremony is a time to clear out any obstacles standing in the way of connection. A reminder that the individual cannot survive without the collective. Cleansing the soul of the community in order to greet the new crop is a sign of respect to the spirit in the growing corn. Today, the natural world has been thrown into chaos by our failure to respect the delicate balance of our ecosystems. It certainly seems like the modern world has a long way to go before our relationship with plants is once again defined by reciprocity. But as the green corn ceremony teaches us, if we take the time to ask forgiveness for the harm we have caused, we can earn the chance to begin again.
Yeah, so I thought that was a good clip that did describe one tribe, well, actually two tribal nations' view on green corn. Does anybody have any comments or questions in the chat? Did you want to say anything, cuz, to that?
But he basically said the same thing I said.
They went more in depth, yes. Um, anybody in the comment section have any comments or questions?
Yeah, but he didn't give the real reason why the ceremony was given. I gave that part. So that was an in-depth part that I went in that he didn't even speak about.
That was a good nugget that you gave us. Yes.
Yeah. And like nephew bought out, right, dealing with the stump dance. The stump dance had another name for it. It was called the Negro dance or the black man dance. So that's another nugget right there. So why call the stump dance a Negro dance if there was no Negroes in the Southeast before European contact? But hey, who are we?
Right. I also did a segment, if y'all want to check that out. I also did one on my channel about the countdown to green corn ceremony, and I shared some information on there. So if y'all want to check that out, yeah, I can do so. Well, if we don't have anything else, we can close out. This is a short podcast today, short and sweet and to the point.
Uh, why you don't hear them actually tell the real story behind the green corn dance? Why they don't never tell the true story behind it? You know that that about, yeah, we come together and we dance and we have a new year and we, that's just a modest about why they had the green corn. What was the purpose of it being given? Did they have that ceremony before they come into the Southeast, or did they get that when they got to the Southeast? You see?
Yeah, I mean, it was 11 minutes long. So he did, I mean, he gave some nuggets, but yeah, that's a good point to add to that. Yeah. Let me look at this real quick. Okay. Let's see if they have a PDF of this book. The nephew put in the chat. Let's see.
Yeah, you get to trade off partners. Like, look, I don't want to be with them no more. I'm gonna find me a new one. The Europeans were like, huh? Yep. Wait, no, y'all gotta get married the Christian way. Nah, man. Nah, we do what we do. We move on. That's right, nephew. They don't understand that, man. You know.
I found this other thing because that book that you said, it only shows like a brief preview, but it's not related. It's talking about something else. So this one is another one I found, Florida Seminole Traditions. And I did put in the words green corn. I'm trying to see, did they mention it? And the turtle shells, that's another common thing too, because the Kitawa have the turtle shells too during the dance, the stomp dance. Um,
Yeah, yeah. You can use the turtle shells, or you can use the gorget. making shakers and movers,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It don't really say, just basically, it don't really say, but the other book didn't mention specifically green corn, so I didn't pull that one up. But I did type in green corn, and this one had came up. But y'all can research. There are books about it, or better than that, you can actually go to your tribal nation ceremony or powwow. If you have not joined or became a member, you can go to the powwow, ask some questions, and see how you can become a part of it. Take that route, and you can look at some information that is in books. This one, let's see. Creek and Seminoles. I'm gonna see if they. See if they mention it in the table of contents. Okay, on page 36. All right. This is an analyst of historic Creek and Seminole settlement patterns, town design, and architecture. The Town Seminole site, a case study. All right, let's go to page 36 because it mentions green corn. Let's see. The green corn ceremony and modifications to public and domestic architecture. So I guess they come from an architectural standpoint. For some time, scholars have examined the significance of the similarities between elements of the Mississippian platform mounds and Creek and Seminole Square grounds. Let me go down and see what they're saying. Okay. It says both the platform mounds and square grounds provided the venues for civic and ceremonial activities, the most important of which was the green corn ceremony. The green corn ceremony coincided with the commencement of the corn harvesting season and was conducted in part to ensure the success of the harvest and that of the community as a whole. Some of the most critical rituals performed during the green corn ceremony were rites of purification. And then this man, his analysis of Mississippian ritualism, he explores how certain ritual activities were performed in order to symbolically bury the material and spiritual impurity that had accumulated over the course of the preceding year or several years in the case of Mississippian cultures. So that's one aspect of burying it. It says the dichotomy expressed during rites of purification invoked the Earth Society. So they named the Earth Society. Chikili legend describes the emergence of the mythical first people and the encounters that they had with violent earthly forces. According to the legend, the first people had to conquer these forces along their journey to find what would become the homeland of the Creek Society. And they go on to talk about some other stuff, but I just did want to talk about the green corn. It's saying that during the green corn ceremony, each household would perform its own cleansing activities that mirrored those taking place in the public square ground space. For some Creeks and Seminoles, an important element of this ritual was the extinguishing of the town fire, the covering of the square ground surface with new sand, and igniting of a new fire in the center of the square. At this time, refused or broken or unusable objects were discarded, and the house and the surrounding areas were swept clean of debris. The fires in the hearth were put out at the same time, and the sacred fire in the square ground was extinguished. When the town fire was relit, women from each household would gather the embers from the town fire to use in relighting of their own hearths. So basically, they were doing a ritual sweeping of Creek and Seminole Square grounds and domestic areas during green corn. So purification is highlighted over and over again in every aspect, basically. Yeah. Well, they go on to talk and talk and talk, but that's basically what it's just purification, symbolically, spiritually, mentally, and physically. Purification. Starting anew, basically. Yep. Well, that's all I got right now, without getting long-winded. But so this is what I read from. If y'all wanted to zoom in on that. Any last words? You see your whole nephew. Any last words, cuz? He might have hit that mute button. Well, y'all, we're going to close out, and we hope y'all enjoy y'all green corn sacred week of cleansing and purification and mending relationships and starting a new year, etc. We hope y'all enjoy y'all green corn. And if y'all want to support us and get some merch, we do have some green corn merch also. And I will pull that up and we can close out. So we do have our merch if y'all want to support. I know my bloodline. Y'all big mad. I know my bloodline. We represent and stand on business. NegroIndians. I am. If y'all want to support that. And we do have some green corn merch. We say happy green corn to all our relations out there. So y'all can get this to have y'all purification tea in there. Y'all want to put y'all black drink or whatever herbal drink, your tribal nation's recipe for that purification drink. Y'all can put it in this cup. And we gonna close out. Y'all have a good night. Peace. We closing out, cuz. I think he might have dozed off. All right, y'all. We out. Till next time. We won't be here during Mother's Day. So y'all also enjoy y'all Mother's Day. Enjoy green corn. Peace relations. We out.